All right, welcome back everybody. So we're going to be trading the NQ again today. So let's get straight to the charts. Obviously, NQ 1 minute chart. We're using a footprint on deep charts, and I've got an Ola Prime account here, challenge account, 50k challenge account. We'll be trading the MNQ on the Ola Prime account, but we'll be using the actual full E-mini NQ on deep charts in order to make our trading decisions. Okay, so again, what are we looking for? So if we just zoom out, it's a few hours after the open, we're in a very kind of sideways market. As you can see, there's a lot of consolidation going on. Got the point of control, just here as well. So we're on the point of control. I'm going to be treating this as a consolidating market. So really, I only kind of want to trade at the tops or bottoms at the moment. So you always want to look at the market conditions, right? Are we trending? Are we, consolidating, whatever? And in the last, hour or so, we've basically been going sideways. So I'm not going to, until it does something else, I'm not going to, try and predict, we're going to break out and go down here, or we're going to go up, or whatever. Literally, I'm looking at it as consolidation, okay? So when we're on the lower half of the distribution, I'm looking for longs. When we're on the upper half, I'm looking for shorts, okay? Very, very simple. So let's go to the footprint. Let's zoom in on the 1 minute, and let's see if we can find a trade, okay? So straight off the bat, what do we have? Well, right now we're seeing tiny bit of buy pressure coming in, nothing major, 20 contracts here, 30. Looks like buyers are coming in a little bit, and they're kind of holding this line here. These are fresh buyers, all right? We're ignoring these sellers here. We want to ignore them. There was a nice chunk of buyers, actually. We're ignoring these sellers because this could be stops being triggered. But these buyers here, they're not really getting the market up right now, okay? So I'm not too interested right now, but if they come in a bit stronger, I may be willing to just jump in for a small buy. So let's see. We've got some sellers coming in, but they're getting absorbed, which is not a bad sign. I'm actually going to go in quick, and I'm going to have a stop just below these lows here. I want to see if these buyers can, find a little bit of their footing here. We had a big chunk of sellers come in right off the bat. Look at that, instantly absorbed as well. So I want to see some of these sellers get trapped. Again, we're just in one position. I will add to my position if I see something good. I'm starting to see a little bit, sellers are trying to push the market down, but they're having a bit of trouble here. But they might just break through, potentially. We'll see. No, they get absorbed at the bottom. This is not looking terrible, actually, for a buy. You're seeing the sell efficiency is very weak. I may actually add to my position once I see some buyers come in. When buyers come in, I'm going to add to my position now because I'm very happy with what I saw there. Where we got a bit of chunk of buyers coming in, but nothing major. I want to see maybe 50 or so buyers on the delta, but come in a nice chunk. Sellers are still trying to push it down. Let's see if they get absorbed again. If not, we might have a bit of a trade. Seeing just a trickle of buying. There was a little bit of a chunk of buyers, but nothing too major yet. Little bit of buying. Buyers are holding the line quite well despite not posting big volume, which is quite good. Okay. I want to see, though, in order for me to add to this position, I need to see bigger buyers like that. There we go. Now we can add another position. I'm quite happy with what I saw there. So I'm adding to my position as I see buyers come in. Now I want to see these buyers really kind of hold the line here. Make this a little bit bigger so I got the exit button. And I really want to see buyers extend here. Adding more volume. There's good. That's nice. Keep adding. 40, 30. 40. Come on. I need to see a little bit more. They're getting a little bit of absorption here. 50. They're adding still, so it's okay. 60. Good. As long as they keep adding, we're okay. All right. Not looking terrible. I do want to see what happens when we get to these highs here, right? These highs here, this is going to be quite interesting. Are we going to see sellers get squeezed out of the market? Let's find out. We're about to approach it. We should see a pop in volume. Any moment now, we should see a bit of a pop in volume as we break above that high, if we do manage to break. But if we start getting absorbed at the top here, we could have another rotation down if too many sellers come in. I don't like those chunk of buyers at the top there, that 66, potentially trapped at the top. I need to see buyers really be willing to buy the top here. We're not seeing, we're not seeing too much right now. There's a little bit more, 70. Oh, back down to 60. Come on, any second now we're about to get a pop, I think. 80, good. Buyers are still adding, which is good. But there are sellers pushing them back down again. Back all the way down to 50. We should see a pop. There it is. Beautiful. Okay. Some sellers potentially getting stopped out, but not a lot. I expected a bit more. But let's see if buyers keep adding to their position. If they do, we can keep holding this trade. But at the moment you see buyers start lifting off, we also want to get out this trade, all right? A little bit of sellers. Oh, there was a big chunk of sellers all the way back to 30. Let's see if buyers can... Oh, beautiful how they absorbed that. That is the pop right there that we were waiting for. Okay, and I think after a pop like that, it's good to take your money. Sometimes you get that instant reaction, so I'm out the market. I'm pretty happy with that. That was quite nice. No idea what my P&L was, to be honest. Didn't actually look. Oh, okay. So we made $1,096 again. 1,000 on the day. Beautiful on that account. So that was a very quick one. But again, notice how I'm reading the market. Okay. Let me make this smaller for you guys. Notice on this area here. So I'm just going to go over this trade. It's going to be a bit of a shorter video by the looks of it. But notice what I was reading, right? So we were seeing sellers were coming in, okay? I'm not going to account for this 50, but this volume here is definitely legit sell volume. And they weren't really breaking it much down, especially, again, they were coming in, right? But sellers were having a hard time. And we saw a bit of, buyers, they were just a little bit more efficient in the market, right? And we could have a very tight stop. I think our stop was like down here. So very tight. We had a very tight stop down here. And I was looking at the efficiency of the market, okay? And I was seeing that buyers were doing okay. They kept buying the bottom. They were holding the line quite well. And, all that was required was a bit of... And then I added another position the moment buyers started coming in on this candle here, right? I added another position because now buyers, look, we have a little tiny consolidation, right? Little sideways market, but buyers are willing to buy the top. Okay, they were willing to buy the top. Sellers were, they just weren't efficient, right? And you can see it in real time. Now this 50, again, kind of hard to place where this volume is because we're kind of half in the middle between the low. So I would have assumed some of that 50 was, unfortunately, some buyers getting stopped out. So again, I'm not accounting that volume. I was ignoring this 50. So once you take away the volume to ignore, so essentially ignore that volume, because this could most likely be stops, and ignore that, because it's most likely stops, and ignore that, because it's most likely stops, because we're just looking at the range, right, where we have already traded into. And if you actually look, you can see that the buyers were being more aggressive, right? The buyers were actually wanting it more. When you ignore the volume, when you take away volume that is, hard to place, because we had this low here, right? So even some of this 54 was kind of hard to question whether that's potentially some stops at the bottom, the lower V's candles, or whether that was fresh selling. Kind of hard to know. So again, you could almost ignore that volume, right? When you take away the volume, we know it's not fresh, right? It could be either stops or take profits or anything like that, exit volume, and you're only looking at the volume that has to be fresh volume. So real, new buyers, new sellers, it starts becoming a bit clearer on the image, and you can see, right, buyers were more aggressive, and the sellers just weren't that good at getting the market down, really. And it looks like buyers were about to trap these sellers, and we did. The moment we got above these sellers, I added another position, and we rode it up until we had that pop, and then we're out. All right, so a very quick scalp, $1,000, not bad, right? Again, that's how we're breaking down the market. It's about chasing the correct volume, and I have to preach this over and over again when it comes to reading the footprint. You need to know which volume to chase and which volume to ignore, and you've got to use logic, right? And again, I'll go over what each side looks like on the footprint, right? So buyers getting stopped out look like sellers, right? Sellers getting stopped out look like buyers, right? Buyers taking profit look like buyers. Sellers taking profit look like sellers. And new buyers coming in on the footprint. So actual, real market orders, the volume you do want to chase. Obviously, new buyers look like buyers and new sellers look like sellers, right? So as long as you know what you're looking for, okay, and you apply logic to it, then it becomes a bit easier to figure out, right? So that was the trade I just took, done for the day. And it's simple as that. So when people say, why would you be a scalper when you could be a swing trader? So much stressful being a scalper. I get it. I get why people think it's stressful. But that's the idea that you're scalping constantly up and down, up and down. You're taking a million trades a day. That's not true. As a scalper, generally, you're only taking a few trades a day. If that trade didn't work out and we got out break even or a small loss, all right, fine. I'll jump in again, try get another trade. But this time it worked out perfectly. First time, great. And that's it. You're done. You don't need to trade anymore. It takes a few minutes. I literally jumped on the charts only around here, to analyze, and I saw a trade opportunity a few minutes later. And that's the beauty of being a scalper. You can see the trade opportunities very frequent, all right? You don't have to take all of them, but there's a good chance within an hour, you're going to have a trade. Absolutely. Whereas as a swing trader, you're probably waiting maybe even days sometimes for a position, or intraday, you'd definitely be waiting hours a lot of time for a position. So that's why I love scalping. It's ultimately reading just the order flow. You don't need to really to overcomplicate it. Just follow the correct volume. Follow the volume that looks legit, right? Follow the volume that is fresh, new buyers or sellers coming in. If you follow that volume, you're generally at least always going to be in some kind of profit. Now, you might not get a big extension, you might not get a big trade, but you're probably, most of the time, you're going to be in some kind of profit at some point in time. So as long as you manage that trade well, you know when to get out, and you usually get out with something. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, really, really important. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Come back tomorrow again, where, again, another video. I'll be around the same time, trading. I'll take a trade, and I'll record it, and make a video, and walk you through what I'm looking at. All right? So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.